Hello viewers, today I will show you a 2007 British fictional heist movie called Flawless. The story revolves around an elderly janitor working in the London Diamond Corporation, convinces a glass ceiling constrained executive to help him steal a handful of diamonds from their employer. What happens in the next? To know this, watch the video till the end. There are huge spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. At the beginning of our story, we witness a hand foraging in the mud. The man discovers something that appears to be gemstones. The gemstones are in fact uncut diamonds. Now we see the bustling metropolis of London and an elderly lady named Laura Quinn sitting in a cafe with her guest, a young newspaper writer named Cassie, who intends to write a piece about Laura. While they are talking, Laura shows up a 168-carat diamond with 58 facets. Cassie is taken aback and takes up the gem as Laura begins to narrate the story of how she stole the diamond from the London Diamond Company. When Laura narrates her story, we are taken back to 1960s London. Laura, a young businesswoman, enters the London Diamond Corporation building, where she works as a manager in a male-dominated corporation. Mr. Hobbs, an old cleaner, greets her. The scene emphasizes Mr. Eaton, who is being pursued by two men with small carts. Eaton unlocks a vast vault where trolleys will be loaded, but before this the diamonds are sent to desks where they are checked for flaws. Outside, the owner of the company, Matthew, and his son Ollie arrive at the building amidst a crowd of protesters. Just as they enter the office, the directors and personnel are waiting to discuss the terrible news of 100 diamond workers being killed at a mining location in Africa. Laura informs Matthew that the Russians would most likely break agreements with the company due to the negative headlines. However, Matthew has chosen Peter Boland as the company's new managing director. Laura is not considered because the company will not break customs by appointing a woman to the position of managing director. Mr. Hobbs, the cleaner, later enters Laura's office. He tells her that he believes everyone should be bold and grab what they want. Laura exits the building, the last to leave as usual. The next day, Laura encounters a man named Harold Reynolds while she was crossing the hallway. The same person she met at Oxford University. He hands Laura a business card and suggests that she might love to work for Allied Banking, the firm where he works. The next morning, she notices her inspirational note with a negative response scrawled beneath it. She also gets a movie ticket with a session time written on the backside of it. Out of immense curiosity, she goes to the cinema during her lunch hour. Mr. Hobbs greets Laura as she enters the theater. He offers her to sit and enjoy the show. She is losing patience, but he informs her that he hiddenly witnessed a conversation between the directors in which it was said that soon she would be fired from her position. He proposes a plan, stealing enough diamonds to make them wealthy, but not so many that they get noticed. She's not sure whether to trust him or not and warns Hobbs that he'll never get away with anything like that. Laura later discovers a termination letter that states that she is fired from her position. She then makes an appointment to see Harry Reynolds. Laura is sitting at a restaurant with Harry when he informs her that his company cannot hire her because she is incompetent. He says that there are rumors all around about her. Seems like her company spread some negative reports about her. That night, she falls asleep on the sofa and dreams of security guards capturing her while attempting to steal diamonds from the company. The following day, she goes to the dog races in search of Hobbs. She inquires him how he intends to loot the company. Hobbs assures her that he has an amazing plan. Hobbs explains his scheme, taking her to his apartment. Because the vault codes change on a weekly basis, he will need Laura to obtain the codes, which are somewhere in Matthew's study at his house. Hobbs informs Laura that she will have to find the vault passwords while attending a gathering at Matthew's house to entertain the Russians. He assures her that he is able to carry enough diamonds in his drink thermos. After the heist, they can retire comfortably. Laura meets with Matthew's second-in-command, Mr. Jameson, on the night of the celebration. He tells her a bitter reality that Sir Sinclair, the company's insurance director, was previously implicated in a health insurance controversy but was never punished. Matthew introduces them to Dmitriev, the chairman of the Russian Diamond Authority. Dmitriev approaches Laura and requests a dance. Laura afterward walks upstairs to Matthew's study to seek the codes. Laura hears footsteps and flees as Matthew comes and opens a small safe. She keeps an eye on him and makes a mental note of the safe code. When he's gone, she unlocks the safe and retrieves the vault codes. The following day, Laura notices a worker putting a security camera in the hallway. Later, she sees Hobbs and informs him that 8 CCTV cameras are being installed. She tells him the cameras all turn it on and off for 60 seconds at a time. He assures her that's enough time for him to get in and out of the vault. Next, Hobbs mops the floor in the security room and times the cameras. In the cleaner's room, he looks at his stopwatch, then makes his move. Looking at his stopwatch, he rushes to the vault and puts in the code. Meanwhile, Laura calls the security room as a distraction to give Hobbs a little more time. Again, he watches his stopwatch, then opens the vault and hurries quickly down the corridor and out of the view of the camera. Later, we see Hobbs leaving work to go home. The next morning, Laura watches Hobbs leave work, but the sign on the clerk calls Hobbs back inside. Hobbs is required to unblock a toilet before leaving. Hobbs is at home emptying his tea thermos into the sink, but there are no diamonds. The next day, the diamond sorters have all gone home. Laura goes down to the lobby and finds Jameson in a panic. Laura is in the ladies' toilets when Mr. Eden calls her and takes her to the vault. As she enters, she can't believe her eyes. The vault is empty. Mr. Eden is showing a man named Finch the building plans and tells him the only way into the vault is by the door. Now Matthew is telling all of the management staff that there will be no police investigation because the publicity would ruin the company. Sinclair introduces Finch as the chief insurance investigator. Laura sees Hobbs in the lobby, but he reassures her everything is okay. Later, Laura goes to Matthew's office. We see a man called Boyle giving a letter to Matthew regarding the purchase of some inventory. Apparently, Boyle is unaware of his client's identity and the contents of the inventory. Boyle is called out for a phone call. While he is out, Matthew reads the letter which states that the diamonds can be bought back for £100 million. Before leaving, Boyle hands a small package to Matthew and then he leaves. Matthew opens the package, which contains a huge diamond known as the South African Star. Later, Finch asks Laura some questions and notices that she's very nervous. The next morning, Laura suggests to Jameson that she works with Finch to help with his investigations. Laura finds Finch and they go down to the vault together. He tells her that CCTV cameras are not so secure because of a 60-second time gap. Finch tells her there was no forced entry. She suggests that the thief must have known the combination. We see Sinclair offer Matthew a check for £5 million to buy enough diamonds to keep trading, but Matthew wants the diamonds back now. When Finch suggests that Matthew's son Ollie may have been involved, Matthew loses his temper and threatens to ruin Sinclair if he doesn't pay the ransom. Now we see Hobbs in an underground canal and Laura tells him they should give the diamonds back and make a deal, but he tells her if she does that they will go to jail. We see Laura looking at the plans of the building when Finch comes in to take her fingerprints, just as a formality. He then asks her to accompany him while he questions Hobbs. While Finch questions Hobbs, a man comes in and calls Finch away. Before Hobbs leaves the office, Laura tells him they'll have to negotiate or go to jail. He tells her his cause is worth 100 lifetimes in jail. We see Finch looking at Laura's prints and comparing them with some from Matthew's home. Now Laura is opening Hobbs' locker to look for a clue to the diamonds. Later, Laura joins Finch for a drink in a nearby bar. At the London Diamond building, the press arrives after Sinclair has tipped them off. Sinclair's chairman, Sir Gottfried, tries to hold back the press. Matthew comes down the stairs, then suffers a heart attack and falls to the floor. Back in the bar, Finch asks Laura how she managed to remove all the diamonds, but she assures him she is not that smart. Just then, Finch is told of Matthew's heart attack, and he leaves. In the ladies' toilets, Laura drops a diamond from her earring in the sink's drain. She removes the pipe underneath and suddenly she realizes how Hobbs must have removed the diamonds. Laura takes a torch and enters the underground drain system. As she walks through the tunnels, Hobbs appears with a torch. When she threatens to turn him and he points a gun at her and tells her she's staying, she knocks the gun from his hand and runs through the tunnel, but trips and falls, then sees a huge diamond on the floor, which she puts in her pocket. Hobbs tells Laura how his wife's cancer could have been removed, but the insurance company made her wait too long for the surgery. By then the cancer was too aggressive. Sinclair was the insurance chairman at the time, who postponed the surgery, so Laura realizes that Hobbs is getting his revenge on Sinclair. Hobbs tells Laura Sinclair took the one thing he truly loved. Godfrey tells Sinclair he has agreed to pay the ransom of £100 million. Sinclair goes to his office and shoots himself. Laura tells Hobbs how she dropped her diamond in the sink and then she figured it out. Now we see a flashback when Hobbs was taking all the diamonds in his work trolley at intervals to his workroom. Ollie receives word that the ransom was deposited into the account, but the note from Boyle showing the location of the diamonds is blank. We see how Hobbs emptied the diamonds down the sink then. The South African star was actually in the bottom of the toilet Hobbs was asked to clean. Now Hobbs points the gun at Laura and pulls the trigger. To his surprise, the gun was never loaded. He tells her it doesn't matter now because the money will have been paid. He turns off his torch and walks away. Laura walks down the tunnel and looks round the corner. There are all the diamonds, piled high at the end of the drain. Now we see men carrying boxes of diamonds out of the underground tunnel, while Laura sits on the steps wrapped in a blanket. Finch tells her he has lost his 5% finder's fee because she found the diamonds. Laura is about to make an admission, but Finch stops her. He says he would hate to see her spend the rest of her life behind bars. He says goodbye and leaves. She remembers the large diamond in her pocket, but she decides to keep it. We see Ollie telling the press that the diamonds were not stolen, then allows them to photograph all the diamonds inside the vault. Dmitriev is seen signing a contract to secure his relationship with the company once again. Back to the present day, and Laura is again talking with Cassie, telling her that she left the company a month later, how she received a letter from a Swiss bank informing her of a deposit made to an account in her name of £100 million. Laura hands Cassie a manuscript of her story to be published, hoping it will inspire other women. At the end, we see how Laura donated all the money to worthy charities around the world. We see a photo of Laura with her husband and daughter. Cassie reads the final words of the manuscript. It's a remarkable world out there. Will you be a giver or a taker? She walks outside to look for Laura, but she's already gone. And this is where this beautiful movie ends. Thanks so much for watching. Tell us your thoughts on the movie down below in the comments section. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and do watch some of our other videos as well.